Hold on, 400. Awesome. Yeah, so we're live here for a lunch Q&A. And yeah, we're going to go through the whole process of having lunch / eating. This is pretty much what I do every single day. Like, I keep it simple. For me, I just eat the same stuff every day. Like, that way I don't have to think about it. It's easy. For me, like I do not like cooking. It's a necessary evil, something that I just need to just do to eat. But I want to eat healthy, and I don't really want to be eating out all the time, because that stuff I don't fully enjoy. I just don't think it's that good, personally, just to be eating out. It's expensive, but also more than that, it's just the quality of food I think is not good. There's a lot of added crap that's there. So I just tend to do my, oh snap, we are running out of parchment paper. So that might not fly. Also, is this parchment, can you tell me, is this parchment paper or is this something else? Like, can I use this for my salmon, or should I use aluminum foil? I don't even know what this is, like wax paper maybe? I don't know. Maybe using aluminum foil will be best, because I have a whole bunch of aluminum foil. What are the shields for on the outside of your glasses? So these are for dry eyes. So I have terrible dry eye. It makes my eyes super red, and so that's why I have these. So yeah, use new aluminum. But what is this thing? Like this, is this isn't parchment paper? Is this some kind of wax paper? Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I think aluminum foil is what we need to stick with, right? I had some parchment paper, but it ran out. So I think aluminum foil is gonna be the go-to here. Thank you. What would foil is good, yes. What would we do without you? As I was saying, I am not a chef, so do not come to me for chef advice. Psych advice, mental health information, yes, but cooking, no. Like, now that I've found some one basic meal, like, I will just eat the same thing over and over. Like, I don't care. It literally does not bother me or affect me in any way, shape, or form. So, but basically what I do is I eat the same thing every day. And it's just fish, chicken, and actually you'll see it. I mean, first I do a little bit of drizzling with olive oil, and definitely critique my process, because I'm not a chef, I'm not a mom, I am a young single bachelor in New York City, just trying to get my nutrients in. That's how I view food. It's just nutrients, nutrients, calories, protein, a little bit of taste. Like, that's literally just how I view it. You can't forget the 10 grams of pumpkin seeds. Exactly. See, you already know my routine. Like, it's so standard at this point. Well, basically, I have the salmon. I have the frozen salmon. And so I'll just do 2 of these. Yeah, I don't have that many spices. Like, my mom has a whole bunch of spices, but I have very, very little spices. I have maybe, like, I don't know, like salt, pepper. Yeah, so I think I need to get some lemon pepper in there too. For me, I just want to get the maximum benefit with the least amount of work. Oh, I do have garlic. Yes, I have garlic. I have garlic powder. right? So that's one piece that's out there. Toss that. And I always wash the scissors afterward too. And then there's two pieces out here. Do you have lemon? Cut some and put it on. I don't have any lemon, fortunately. What if I use lemon pepper? Would that work? Like lemon pepper seasoning? I like salmon in the air fryer. Are you gonna defrost? No, I'm too lazy to defrost. I usually just cook it right then and there. Because for defrosting, I would have had to have thought about it beforehand. I don't know, I use real lemon. Yeah. Okay, let me wash my hands. Okay, hands are washed. But the reason I like salmon so much is because of the omega-3s. Yeah. So I got my salt, got pepper. Let's see, I have garlic powder and parsley flakes. Like that's literally what we're working with. So we gotta make the best of it. But then what I do, at least, is what I'm doing is, I put olive oil on at least the salmon. Oops. Maybe a little bit on the chicken too, so that way I can drizzle some seasoning on it. Did you know in med school you want to be a psychiatrist? Yeah, I did. I went to med school knowing I wanted to be a psychiatrist. It was either that or family med, but I knew I was going for psych. I'm just not a hands-on person, as you can clearly see. I'm more like cognitive-minded. I like talking about people's like feelings and things more than just pure medical stuff. Okay, so now that the olive oil has been rubbed on, then I literally just load it with salt, pepper. Let's see. Yeah, put salt on it. I don't know if this is ideal at all. This is just my DIY system that I've been using. So if you have any suggestions, please throw them at me. Not too much, yeah. See, I like salt though, and I often find that whenever I cook, stuff comes out under seasoned. So maybe I just need more and more. What my mom does is like she'll pan fry it, and then then it becomes little tiny pieces, and then the little tiny pieces can get seasoned much better. But like, she'll defrost it and defrost it the night before. Maybe I should do that. Defrosting the night before, huh? Whatever. Yeah, so maybe just load it up with some pepper. I also find myself seasoning a lot as I'm eating too. Okay, and then I have all this garlic powder as well. What do you think about BPD? I think that a lot of people are recognizing it, which is good. And I think that the biggest way to treat it is to first admit that you have it, right? If you've been diagnosed, because I think a lot of people are in denial. And then once you're able to acknowledge that there's a problem, then you can go about fixing it. Because if you don't acknowledge there's a problem, that's when you're gonna run into trouble. You're gonna have relationships that fail, and people will get mad at you, and you're not sure why it's happening. So one of my friends, for example, so she recognizes that she has a lot of triggering reactions and she'll overreact, but she recognizes it. And because she recognizes it, she's in treatment for it. And that's improved her relationships with her friends and family significantly. So you really do have to recognize that you have the problem. And that's the only way that you can fix it. Okay, so at least I got the parsley in here. Is high protein diet beneficial for people with ADHD? Yes. because high protein diet, it causes the production of dopamine. Basically, the amino acid L-tyrosine forms dopamine. And then if you form dopamine, then you help out with ADHD. And then I also do broccoli as well. This thing I don't do too much with. The broccoli, I basically just throw some salt and pepper on there, call it a day. That's what I do with that. My cousin's in biomed engineering and starts like this, dude. That's hilarious. Yeah, I try, man. I have my strengths and weaknesses, and you got to know what your strengths are. If Oh, I see. So you're saying that if I defrost it, it'll season better, huh? Then maybe I should defrost it tonight, and then tomorrow it should come out a lot better. You are going to live forever. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Then basically, yeah, I'll just set the timer for 30 minutes, and then we'll be good. It tastes really good when you pan fry both sides and bake. Yeah, I just don't want to pan fry and bake though. Like that's just too much for me. Tips for newly diagnosed bipolar disorder? Yeah. Tips for newly diagnosed bipolar disorder, yes. Make sure that you're staying stable as much as possible. Meaning that your mood is stable through the diet you eat. So eat a clean, almost even ketogenic diet. You don't want your mood to be going up and down. Keto diet's really good for mood stability and bipolar. Making sure that your sleeping is really good. You got to be sleeping really well because you don't want to trigger a manic episode. And make sure that you your stress level is low too, because that can destabilize you as well. And stick on your mood stabilizer. And don't stop your medication if you have bipolar disorder if you think you're getting better, because oftentimes that's what will trigger a manic episode. Like I've had patients who they stopped their meds because they thought they were getting better, and then they got re-triggered into a mania. I have social anxiety at work, but I don't want to be on meds, natural alternatives. Yeah, L-theanine's really good for anxiety in general. L-theanine is solid for that. Ooh. Okay, now we just gotta wait 30 minutes to start cooking. I want to schedule a call with you. Okay, best way to schedule a call is to do it in my bio. Yeah, so that's how you can schedule a consult call. And yeah, we can see if we're a good fit to work together. You got it, just throw it in the fridge the night before. It should defrost enough, then the season will stick and it won't be under seasoned. Yeah, I know, yeah, that's what I should do. You know what? We're gonna defrost it tonight and defrost it, yeah, in the fridge, and then yeah, we're gonna test this out and then see how it goes tomorrow. That's gonna be the new plan. So yeah, I guess I'll have you to hold me accountable for this. Yeah, I've been on Strattera for 5 days and it's not working. Yeah, Strattera, you got to give it a couple weeks at least, like 4 weeks, 5 weeks though. Where's my light? Yeah, you got to give Strattera a little bit of time. It's not one that kicks in immediately, but it takes a little bit of time to do it. I need to look in your bio. Where are you located? Do you take virtual clients? Yeah, so look in my bio. I definitely take virtual clients. Yeah. Yeah, I have a bunch of state licenses everywhere. Wow, your view is cool. I appreciate it. It's one of the perks of living in the city here. Let's see, like right there, yeah. Have you ever treated psychogenic Ooh, wait, we gotta set the timer because, yeah, we need to set the timer here. Because then otherwise things will overcook. Have you treated emetophobia? Like fear of vomiting? I assume that's what that means. I have once. I think I had one or two cases. I tend to think of it more like a OCD. You would use high dose SSRIs for that. How did you survive the other rotations in med school? I mean, you just got to do what you got to do, right? To be successful, you have to do things that you may not want to do. And, I didn't want to do surgery rotations and stuff, but you had to do it, so I did it. Can I pay? Yeah, so I don't actually work with insurance, so that works totally fine. So yeah, if you book a consult, everything is done through PayPal. So if you see that, yeah, you can just check out my bio, and that's the best way to do it. Or just send me a message here, and I can send you a link as well. I'm holding you accountable. Yes, perfect. Yeah, I'll have to make a thing, basically defrost food. I am diagnosed BPD, but I might have NPD too. What are the overlaps? So the overlaps are that they're both cluster B. Narcissism is present in both of them. Yeah, but I think narcissism tends to involve a lot more lack of caring for other people, whereas with BPD, it's like you do care, but it's almost like your own insecurities are what they're causing your extreme reactions. Hanley, can you see all messages on YouTube? Yeah, so we're streaming on TikTok. Abilify is an antipsychotic. Yes, it is. Just message you. Okay, perfect. Does hydroxychloroquine interfere with SSRIs? That I don't know. I'm not too familiar with hydroxychloroquine. I just know that was a antiviral, that came out for COVID stuff. I know it was a thing for malaria too, but I don't know if it interferes with SSRIs. I have BPD, but I don't believe it's a real diagnosis. Oh, it's definitely a real diagnosis. It's 100% real. For sure. Yeah. And if in fact you do want to make sure that you get it diagnosed and treated if you have it, because if you don't, then you're not getting the treatment for the thing that you have. And like, for example, I have a lot of patients who, let's say they've been diagnosed with anxiety or depression or something, and then once they find out they have BPD, they can actually get treatment for the thing they have, and they can get fixed for it, or they can get better. Because with BPD, the problem is that it may destroy a lot of relationships you have in your life. Okay, Lisa, what is your question? How do you know you have it? So it's got a couple different signs. Like the signs of BPD are fear of abandonment, intense emotional reactions, stress-induced paranoia, harming of the self, or a lot of SI during stressful moments. Those are the big signs. Usually a trauma history as well. Well, so the thing is that the reactions are more severe. It's not like a mild reaction or like an average reaction. The reactions tend to be more severe, and they tend to be triggered around emotional distress or around fear of abandonment. Like, for example, might abandoning someone before they abandon you type of deal. So that's like a common BPD reaction, or like breaking up with someone before they break up with you, or yelling or thinking someone might be cheating on them but like they're doing the cheating, that's a projection thing, but then getting angry at results from that. I can't take antidepressants. What mood stabilizer helps? Depression. I'm on lamotrigine right now. I can't take antidepressants. I am on what mood stabilizer helps to. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, lamotrigine's a great mood stabilizer for depression. Lithium can be used as well for bipolar depression. Usually the antipsychotics are the go-tos like Abilify or Seroquel. Now more evidence is coming out for Vraylar. Yeah, Vraylar, Rexulti. Those have some efficacy for bipolar or for depression too. Is Wellbutrin for ADHD as well? Yes. Are people with BPD generally dangerous? They can't hold friendship. So I wouldn't say generally, but they tend to have a lot more difficulty holding friendships. So that's why it's really important to acknowledge that you have it, and then you have to be very mindful of your own reactions, so that way you don't keep on messing up friendships. So I have a personal life friend. She has BPD, but she's gotten some treatment for it, so she's doing a lot better, and she's able to maintain friendships better. Like, she won't overreact. Like, let's say we don't text for a month or two, like, she doesn't think that that I don't like her, whereas other BPD people might feel abandoned, but like, she knows to check her own reaction because of that. How effective is CBT for ADHD and social anxiety? Very effective, actually. It's pretty good, because the whole point is that we have these thoughts, feelings, and actions, and in social anxiety, basically you have these thoughts that, oh yeah, I can't do this, or oh wow, this is going to be a lot. But then when you take the actions to put yourself in social situations, then it proves to you that, hey, I can actually do it, and that's how it improves. So I had the same thing. So for me, when I was in college, I was always scared around being around girls and being around cool guys, and so I joined a fraternity. Like, I had a lot of anxiety with that, and then when I did that, like, it was hard in that, like, I found myself avoiding a lot of the brothers I didn't relate to, and sometimes I would skip the parties and social events. But then eventually, started going to more and more, and then got more and more exposed to it, and then I had more and more fun doing it. And then by the end of it, like, I loved it and I miss it. So, yeah. So definitely that, you have to get exposure to treat social anxiety, and CBT is one of the best ways to do that. How was residency? Residency was good. Learned a lot. It wasn't too bad. It was always good. Lisa, you always say that you have a question, but you never ask the question. I remember you doing this before too. So just state what the question is. Are hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations signs of mental illness? No, those are actually signs of narcolepsy. Yeah, so narcolepsy, people can have those stuff, like they'll have hallucination as they wake up or as they fall asleep. And that can be a sign of narcolepsy. Does medical school applicants get rejected because of their mental illness, ADHD, anxiety, BPD? Yes, they can. So I probably would not state a mental illness on your application. Because, on the one hand, it's unfortunate because of stigma still, right? Like, a physical illness doesn't get treated the same. But at the other hand, I can see where the schools are coming from. They don't want potential liabilities on their for their applicants, and it's also like become a trendy thing to say that you have a mental illness. So that's I see their point as well. I'm very curious, but how can you AMA out of a hospital, but you can't AMA out of a psych hold? Because a psych hold, the danger is that you could harm yourself, right? And so we have to protect you. A psych hold means that you don't have capacity to make a decision. You can AMA out of a hospital, but you have the capacity or you're with it to make a decision. But the psych hold, like, let's say you're psychotic, you don't have the intellectual capacity at that point to make a decision. I was told I need to start on Adderall, but want to be a doctor one day, and you don't need to tell any admissions committee what medications and things you're on. Like, that doesn't have to be the focus of your application. Plenty of med students are on Adderall. Like, their application is not about it. How old were you when you finished residency and everything? So I started so I started med school at 22, started residency at 26, and then I started my child fellowship at 29, and I finished at 31 last year, and I'm about to be 32 in a few weeks. So yeah, that's my stuff. All right, Lisa, I see I've been asking my question tons of times. Ask it right now instead of asking about asking a question. I have been spiraling, wasting my life for months now that the thought that I'm a narcissist and psycho. I am constantly seeking validation. I have lied so much. Everything is so confusing. Yeah, that's where CBT I think would be really helpful, because that way you can question your thoughts. Because remember, your thoughts are not reality. Just because you have specific thoughts does not mean that you actually need to follow through with those thoughts, right? Thoughts are just like clouds passing in the wind, and you decide whether you want to agree with those thoughts or not. Should you put your mental health issues on job applications? Definitely not. You have to think about it from the employer's perspective. Why would an employer, the employer's trying to hire you to ultimately get a return on their investment, to make money, right? You generate income for whatever the employment is, and they pay you, but they pay you less than what they generate. Otherwise, the business wouldn't function. So why would you do anything that would detract you? Going back on Effexor after 5-week break, was on for 5 years. Okay, nice. Hopefully your withdrawal wasn't too bad. How can I navigate life if I have no feelings? I would say find some kind of purpose. Find those feelings. It doesn't really happen to you, but you have to find those feelings and find that purpose yourself. And you do that by exploring different things and seeing what excites you. Like, for example, for me, like this is what I've pretty much going to dedicate the rest of my life to. Like, now I'm always going to be on social media. I'm always going to be creating content and doing all this stuff. So yeah, like this is what I'm going to be doing. If you couldn't go down the medical school path, what career would you have had? I would have gone down the social media route. What do you think about the status of aripiprazole for bipolar depression? It's because you don't need an FDA indication to treat something, because you can treat stuff off-label too. FDA, it just means that, hold on. An FDA approval just means that the drug company studied it, but there's always been studies that are done after it's gotten approval. How am I just realizing you have your ears pierced? LOL. Yeah, sometimes I'll rock it for a while. Depends on how I feel. I just started in the ER as an NP. What's the best medication or cocktail for severe agitation? So the B52 is the classic. There's no best one, but like Benadryl, Ativan, and Haldol, like that's a classic one. Haldol 5 milligrams, Benadryl 50, Ativan 2. Geodon is also frequently used in the ER IM, 20 milligrams, 10 to 20 milligrams. When I did the psych, during my psych rotations or my psych hospital, we would also use olanzapine a lot, like 5 milligram IMs. I like that. It's just a little bit more sedating. So it just depends. If you want to sedate the patient, then you can go with the more Benadryl side of things, maybe like Benadryl Ativan. But if you want to actually address agitation or psychosis, but maybe you don't want them to be sedated, that's where you could go with an antipsychotic in there too. Like you could do Haldol plus Benadryl. You may not need the Ativan. Ativan can also it can cause what's called paradoxical agitation, meaning that like sometimes a benzo can actually agitate people. Have you used Auvelity with your patients? I used it once, but I just have trouble getting it covered. So, because usually I'll just start with the Wellbutrin. But then if I need something else, an extra stimulation, that's when I'll consider it. I also did a DIY Auvelity with one patient where basically I gave her dextromethorphan and then Auvelity separately. And then they took it separately rather than together. But the dosing is a little bit different for that. That's more of an advanced thing. It wouldn't be a simple thing. What prevalence of treatment-resistant polypharmacy are you seeing in outpatient depression currently? Has this affected your professional morale at all? I mean, treatment resistance comes with everyone. It comes with everything. Yeah, Lisa, I still cannot see your question. So I wonder if TikTok is filtering it for X or Y reason. Or it might be yeah, I can't see it. So it might be filtering it. Or it might be using some kind of word that I have on like an automatic filter. Hopefully it's not something like insulting, because I think it filters some of that stuff. Or any substances. Or anything like a psychedelic type of thing. Just because like TikTok is very specific on that kind of thing. What's your take on Vraylar? Yeah, so it's a newer antipsychotic, and it helps with bipolar depression, bipolar agitation, and it doesn't cause as much weight gain as some of the others. So yeah, I think it's got some benefit. I haven't used it that much just because when I did my training, it was mainly with the standard, because I worked with a poor community mental health population, so we never had access to the more expensive designer drugs. But I've been doing a lot more education, and that's how I've been learning all this stuff. And then I teach it also in my NP coaching program too. So, we go through every single medication that we have that exists. And so because of this forces me to learn about all the new medications because I have to teach it. And so I'm learning a lot from my students too, because they share their experiences with meds. And I have a future plan is to actually have guest speakers from the different companies lecture in the program, and that way they can give us the real-time education. Because it's one thing for me to teach about the medications, but if someone from the actual company is able to teach about it, they can go a lot more in depth about these different meds. So I was just at the APA and Psych conferences these past 2 weeks, and so there I connected with some of the reps and the medical science liaisons, and so my goal is to have them give talks on the new medications in my community, so that way my community members can be the most educated as possible on all the newer medications. She says, what can she take for severe anxiety disorder? Yeah, so I would start with an SSRI. Like that, you might need to do a higher dose. That's what you would start with. And then you can also add magnesium, L-theanine. What's the best med for panic and anxiety all day long? Yeah, for some reason it got filtered. So yeah, SSRI plus L-theanine plus magnesium. That's a good start. Benzos can be used as well, but they are more addictive. If you really did good on OCD meds, should you stay on it forever? I definitely think you should stay on it for a while. Yeah, you don't want to get off of it too quickly, because then the OCD can come back. And then you want to do exposure therapy as well. Thoughts on Trintellix? It's good. It's one of the newer antidepressants. It doesn't tend to have a lot of the weight gain or the intimate side effects, so that's a nice bonus as well. Because it hits different serotonin receptors, it doesn't just hit the one or two, but it hits a whole bunch of different serotonin receptors, so that's the nice part about it. Lamictal for bipolar, minimum dosage for it to work as a mood stabilizer. Yeah, so Lamictal, pretty much it works at like 25 to 50 milligrams. 100 milligrams is when you start noticing some good stuff. Of course, I've had patients who've benefited pretty early on, but later down the line, I think it's like 100 milligrams. That's when you start noticing. What do you think about trazodone 25 to 50 milligrams? That's decent. It's a small dose, small starting dose. I've had patients need 150 or even 200, but 50 is a good dose. Can silver toxicity affect the brain? Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know what the stats are or anything, and it's something pretty rare. Nothing I've ever seen before, but yeah, I'm sure it could. Would you recommend to become a DNP or an MD psychiatrist? It depends on where you are in your journey. I mean, if you're already in nursing school, then like I think you should continue on the route you're on. If you're already on the pre-med track, you should continue on that route. Yeah, but if you're undecided, it just depends. Like, do you want to be a nurse or do you want to be a physician? Like, it just depends because you have to go through nursing school and go through all that before you become a DNP. So, and then med school, you have to go through physician, you have to go through medicine. What is something you can try resistant to antidepressants currently taking Trintellix? I mean, you can try diet changes, like making sure your diet's clean, getting a lot of good night of sleep. You can try if you want pharmacologic options, you can try augmentation. So you can augment as well too. So Trintellix usually use antipsychotic to augment. You could use Wellbutrin. You could use, antipsychotic like Seroquel, Vraylar, Rexulti. Those are good augmentation ones to help with the depression. Are you a Lyme literate? Yes. So I've had experience with treating Lyme before, and I've worked with functional medicine doctors who are doing that. Lyme. So I've observed their work too. I'm definitely aware of the impact that chronic Lyme can have. Do you know anything about Brivac? I don't know. I'm on Trintellix 2, 10 milligrams. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, you can go up to 20 milligrams. Are you an NYC? Yes, I am. Yes, see, there's a little view action. What about the impact of testosterone on male mood? Yeah, it's definitely a thing. I think a lot of guys may have low testosterone nowadays, just from not sleeping too much, eating bad foods, etc., etc. You have a girlfriend, I see her. Yeah, my only girlfriend is the game, the work. I am a rep for the biggest Lyme lab in the US, LOL. Nice, yeah. I refer some people for Lyme disease testing. Advice for non-trad medical student applicant. I mean, yeah, just be sure that it's what you actually want to do, because when I applied, I was a traditional applicant, went straight after college. So now this was a 9-year journey, 4 years of med school, 5 years of residency and fellowship. So it definitely took a long time to get to where I am. So if you're a non-traditional applicant, that means you're even further along in your life than I am. So for me, like if I want to bounce back and do other things, I still have the options. But if you're doing it as you're older, you have less runway. So really make sure that this is what you want to do. Rochelle, can you tell me about the GeneSight? I'm waiting for the results. Can you tell me about GeneSight? I'm waiting for the results, but I'm a little confused about it. Yeah, so basically the GeneSight just lets us know if a certain medication may or may not be less helpful for you, and if it might need a higher or lower dose. It's not a magical thing, and I think it's overrated. This is what I tell my my NP students, and also other providers, is that I think it might be overrated, because patients will see it and they'll be like, oh, my medicine's in the red, I can't take it. And that's not what it means. It just means that the dose is a little bit higher or lower than what you may need to be prescribed. That's all. And its metabolism might be a little bit different. It doesn't mean that you can't take it. But I think that people just get fixated on the green or the yellow, or the red or the yellow. And in fact, all the medications in the green are always the same for pretty much every patient. So really, it doesn't tell you much. For example, it's always Wellbutrin and Trintellix and maybe Trazodone, because those meds are just less likely to be affected by the metabolism of the things that GeneSight looks at. That's all. Best medication for intimate side effects from SSRI. So you can use Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin add-on can help with that. You can also use Buspirone. Buspirone has been shown to help with some of the intimate side effects as well. Zinc supplementation can be really helpful. Ginkgo biloba can help with blood flow as well too. So there's a couple different options that can be done. Reducing the dose can also be helpful. What is a good medication for low side effects? I mean, depends on for what condition. Every med's gonna have pros and cons with their side effects. We just have to decide, what's gonna help us and what's not. That's all. Do you work with Canadians? Yeah, so usually the way I work with Canadians is their their primary care, like I'll give my advice and consultation, and then primary care doctors, they'll do the prescribing. So I'll be like, hey, I think you should get X or Y, and then they'll do that. And most people are pretty cool with working with that way. So that's not a problem. So the best way to do that is just check in my bio. Are you NYU Langone affiliated? I am not affiliated with any academic institution, purely self-employed. Is social media bad for anxiety? Yes, absolutely, for sure. You just compare yourself to other people, and you also just get numbed out. You also compare yourself to influencers and things, and then also a lot of people, when they have anxiety, they'll go to their phones to placate themselves rather than dealing with anxiety in real life. So it becomes a crutch or a coping mechanism. Does anxiety cause swishing in the ears? Not that I'm aware of. Finasteride and its side effects. So I take finasteride long term. I remember when I first took it, I took 1.25 milligrams, and I had some intimate side effects I wasn't able to release. However, I reduced it to 1 milligram, and now I take it every day. And since then, I've had no side effects from finasteride. And I've been taking it for years now. I'm going to take it for the rest of my life because my hair is important to me. So, yeah, you can definitely use that. What does short allele serotonin transporter mean? Basically, it just means that your serotonin transporter to get the serotonin into your synapses may not be as good, so your antidepressants might have a little bit struggle. That's all. Like you might just release a little bit less serotonin than normal. Yeah. Or sometimes it can be the opposite, where it might not be able to reuptake the serotonin nearly as well. So you might be a little bit more likely to have a side effect because you're not able to take the serotonin back in, and it gets stuck in the system again and again, or in the synapse. Someone doesn't believe that they're bipolar and won't take medication. That's definitely not good. Yeah, I don't have a lot of patients who do that, but I've seen that. And it sucks because then they go into a manic episode and then they end up impacting their life quite a bit. Okay, and now I think my food is done. So I'm gonna get that out and get that cooking. It's been marinating here for about 27 minutes. All right, perfect. So I think I'm gonna have the salmon first, and then I'll come back and get the broccoli after. I did that yesterday and it worked quite well. I need a spatula. Also, do you eat the skin or you don't eat the skin? I've always been eating the skin, but I don't know if you're supposed to or not. That's just what I've been doing. Okay, at least that's that. And then I'll cancel this. And I'll just put the broccoli back in here, let it cook. That way it stays warm. All right, we got our salmon ready. I eat the skin only when it's grilled and crispies. I feel it has all the nutrients. Yeah, I like the skin. The skin has never been a problem for me. Yeah, so I'll always eat it. skin contains toxins. See, now we're getting mixed results. So, I don't know if the answer is yes, we should eat it, or no, we should not. I honestly do not know. But let's see, let's get that first bite in. And wow, and the seasoning actually stayed pretty good on this thing. Usually it doesn't. Damn. Yeah, it actually stayed pretty well. Are you likely to get serotonin syndrome from trazodone and buspar? No. Buspar has been added on to SSRIs plenty of times, and very low chance to cause serotonin syndrome. Serotonin syndrome is mainly from like two SSRIs together, or let's say two SNRIs or like a TCA. It's not as likely from trazodone and buspar. Buspar just targets their specific serotonin receptors. It doesn't really increase overall serotonin amounts. Is there physical proof how SSRIs work? I mean, the physical proof is just from the studies and the mechanism of actions from, they're not amazing, but I mean, there is evidence that they do help. How long should you be on SSRI? I think a good rule of thumb is six months at least until things are better, and then you stay on it for 6 months and then try to come off. Any advice for med students? I mean, it depends. Are you med students trying to go into psych, or just a general med student? People have real trouble getting off SSRIs. Yeah, sure. Some people do. Also, other people are able to get off just fine. Do you do a lot of talk therapy? I do for some clients. It depends, yeah. Wouldn't you get serotonin syndrome if you used Trintellix and Auvelity? No, because Trintellix works on serotonin, Auvelity works on dopamine, norepinephrine, and glutamate from the dextromethorphan. Very few people actually get addicted to ADHD meds. The people who have ADHD and they get on ADHD meds do really well. Like they feel normal. Can I take my clonazepam if it's expired? I mean, I can't advise you to do it. However, I personally don't believe in expired medication. The military has done studies on it, and they found that med expiration dates, like they've tested it like 10 to 15 years after, and the potency of the med only goes down by like 10%. I think, in my opinion, I think expiration dates are a scam by the pharmaceutical industry to obviously just get you to buy more. Can you do research? No, I'm not a researcher. I knew I'm a clinician. Like, I'm not a research person at all. What is normal range for serotonin? Serotonin is not something that's really measured. Best natural supplements for anxiety: magnesium, L-theanine, GABA. How do you feel about atomoxetine? Wow, this came out really juicy today, actually. I think it's because I put more seasoning. Atomoxetine's pretty good. It's not as good as stimulants, but it's a decent non-stimulant option. Let me add some more salt. What do you do for preventive care as it relates to mental health and psych? I mean, this right here, eating clean. Eating clean is one of the best things you can do. Sleeping. I slept 10 hours last night. Exercising. I'm about to go to the gym in a couple hours. That's the preventive care stuff you can do. What can I do to live without Adderall? I get low lows without stimulants. Eat a high protein diet. Get really good quality sleep. Go look into ADHD coaching and structure your life and like get good habits to where you're cutting out the dopamine. Oh, dopamine detox. That's another good one too. Cut out all the fake dopamine in your life, like social media and games and junk food and all that, and you'll find your body will have more natural dopamine to survive on, rather than just getting its tolerance increased from the trash dopamine. Turns out juicy with the right temp and cooking time. Yeah, sometimes I find that it doesn't come out too juicy, or it's a little bit dry. Like for me, it's fine, like I don't really care, but if your food tastes good, it's like an additional benefit, but it's not a requirement for me. I get my salmon frozen, so I mean that helps, but also you have to invest into food, because think about it, if you don't invest into food, everyone buys dumb shit all the time. Like everyone has access to smartphones and everyone buys other stuff. So for me, I just prioritize spending money on food, because then it keeps my health healthy, and then I don't have to be spending on, let's say, health insurance bills, or like a healthcare bill, like doctor visits and all that. Very obvious hair transplant. Yeah, accurate. I got it last year in India. I have no regrets. You know, it's always funny, the people who talk shit, they never have anything on their profile, right? It's always just like a blank profile, like a blank profile pic, just some random videos. You know, it's so funny to me like that, right? If you know, people who have the courage to put themselves online, they're not the ones who are usually talking trash. It's the people who are always just hidden. Right. No, but it's fine. Like, you're literally giving me free engagement, so it's a win-win. Lunch looks yummy. Thank you. As far as I know, there's not a more natural approach. Yeah, it was always my dream to live in a high-rise apartment. So yeah, so I'm very, very fortunate to have that. Can you take Trintellix and B-Spar together? Yeah, you can. Those are obvious. Can you reply? Well, you have to post. So also remember that, so right now we have 149 people in here. So the questions are cooking. Like basically they're just going through like so quick. So if you want me to look at your question, I would definitely look at subscribing, because then your question will stand out in more greater detail than everyone else's. I am Canadian, yeah. I mean, technically I am. That's where I was raised. So I have a Canadian citizenship. May I have a bite? Yes, here. Put lemon. I don't have any lemon. Maybe you should put lemon on it for me. If you weren't a psychiatrist, what would you be doing? I'd be on YouTube. I'd be a YouTuber. That's what I would have done after college. Start making content, start a YouTube channel. You do not give Canadian vibes at all. Yeah, it's because I've been in America for 10 years, 12 years now. And I've been sufficiently Americanized And mentally, I identify as an American. What is the rationale for Ativan treating catatonia? Experimental. For some reason, they found that hitting that GABA receptor treats catatonia. It almost didn't make sense to me because, a lot of times catatonia is very low energy. And then, if you give someone GABA, it almost like lowers that energy. So I don't really know the reason fully why. I just know that it works. Don't scrape your teeth against your fork. That's funny. How deep is your experience treating PEDs other than BPD? PEDs don't really have much of a treatment per se. BPD is the main one that psychiatry sees by far. Because the others, like, you can't really treat them. I've treated a lot of antisocials because I do some correction work. Why did you choose med school and not PA? I wanted the best education. I wanted to be the team leader. I wanted to be at the top. So that's why I chose it. And I was willing to put in the time and effort. DPDR, lie. DPDR is not a personality disorder, though. Natural ways to help depression. Yeah, you can try saffron, eating clean, eating healthy, eating, healthy foods like this. Salmon is really good because it's got omega-3s. Omega-3s are very, very important. Man, set an alarm for that defrost. Yeah. I'll probably have to. I'll put it in the fridge tonight. What's one trick to stop negative thoughts? Be aware of them. Mindfulness. Recognize you're having them, and then tell yourself, okay, what's the opposite thought to this? For example, anytime I have an opposite negative thought, for example, like, oh, this person's talking shit. Oh, they're insulting my hair. I'm like, wait, no, they're the ones who are they're the ones who are hiding here. So I immediately flip that thought. I'm like, okay, I'm the one who's putting myself out there on the internet for people to make fun of. They're not the one. They're not doing anything. So, does their opinion really matter? So that's the example of me having a negative thought and then flipping it so that it benefits me. Awesome, Julian. Thank you for the sub. Julian asks, duloxetine and bupropion good combo for severe depression, ADHD? Yes, actually. Duloxetine helps with the norepinephrine. Bupropion helps with the dopamine. And then duloxetine also helps with the serotonin. How to treat ADHD? So in our field, generally you'd use a stimulant. Stimulant's the first way to go about it, but also eating clean, like eating a good high protein diet for sure. Lowering your carbs, because carbs cause ADHD to go up and down, your blood sugar. Lowering, especially donuts and fries and other simple carbs. That's so funny. Now that people, now that you called out my fork scraping, I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it now. That's so funny. Or complex carbs are good. Yeah, complex carbs are better. For me personally, I found that very low carb works the best for me. And that's when my head is the clearest, when I just remove as many carbs as I can. But I know a lot of people are very attached to their carbs. I don't understand why, but they are. So, yeah, complex carbs are fine. But it's the simple stuff, the sugars, that's what will get you. Oh my gosh. Taking B vitamins too. Yeah. No, it's okay. See,
The difference is that you have to be willing to learn. For example, I'm always willing to learn and improve, and that's how I've gotten to where I am, because I'm always willing to learn and get better. Holy shit, we have 294 people in here, so we are popping. So, no, carbs aren't protein, dopamine. Yes, carbs are dopamine, yes, but they don't help you manufacture dopamine. They give you dopamine. So if you get dopamine from carbs, then the less pleasurable tasks, for example, like studying or doing any kind of work, it's not going to give you as much dopamine. And that's the problem. And then it raises your tolerance for dopamine. For example, if you use any kind of substance, then your dopamine tolerance is just shot up to here. So now if you're trying to do something simple and basic, like let's say study, you need way more dopamine to motivate yourself to do that activity. And that's why dopamine detox works. Wow, we are popping here. I don't think we've had 300 people here in a long time. Can you explain dopamine detox? Yes. Okay. It's chicken next to the... Wow, we are popping. So dopamine detox, basically, okay, let's say that you do something basic, like work on something, go to the gym. Those might give you dopamine of like 0, 5, 10, like, small little tasks that give you a little bit of dopamine. But now let's say you use a substance, like a significant injection substance. That gives you a dopamine spike of like 100. And so now imagine other dopamine things like social media and video gaming. Those might give you 20 and 30. And now the difference is that the things that are low dopamine, like the going to the gym and working on a project, reading a book, those low dopamine things, you have to work a little bit and then they give you a reward after. Whereas the high dopamine things like the injection stuff or the social media and video games, they'll give you dopamine without really working for it. And then if you don't work for that dopamine, then you build up your tolerance really quickly. So now those things, they give you free dopamine without working for it. So your tolerance for dopamine will skyrocket. And then now you need more dopamine to accomplish the same level of pleasure. So if you've overloaded your dopamine with video games, social media, substances, a whole bunch of simple carbs, sugars, then those tasks like working on a project, reading a book, going to the gym, cleaning your house, those things that barely give you any dopamine or pleasure, it's a lot harder to do those because your tolerance has skyrocketed. So if you cut out all the bad dopamine, like the substances, the gym, or not the gym, sorry, like the social media and things, then you're lowering your dopamine tolerance. And now that you've lowered your dopamine tolerance, those little dopamine activities you can do, it's a lot easier to get pleasure from them because your dopamine tolerance is way lower. So that's the whole benefit of a dopamine detox. I hope that makes sense. Also, we are popping here. Slow day at the office. Bro, this is my office. This is the beauty of Psych. Or if you can... Psych allows me to work remotely. Tips for a successful match into Psych? Yeah, make sure it's the field you really, really want to do. Should you leave the live? You can leave if you want to. We only want people who want to be here. So that's the beauty about it. If you like me, if you like this stuff, then you stay. And if you don't, you just swipe up and move on with your life. That way it's win-win. Microwave fish? Nah, bro, we just microwave. We just ovened it. My work, I'm at home right now. I work from home. Are you a pescatarian? No, I eat chicken, I eat beef. I'm just a low carber. Basically, I just eat protein and veggies. And Greek yogurt. I went to high school with you. Who is this? London Central. Marika. Oh, I think I remember you. Didn't you have a cousin as well? Vlad or something? He was a tall white dude. Can you make a TikTok on what you explained about dopamine? I love that. Yeah. Or maybe I could interview someone on talking about it too. I'd love to do an interview talking about dopamine detox with someone. Alaskan salmon. Yes, it is. Yeah. Freaking love salmon. That's what I eat every day. Early humans did not eat simple carbs. Precisely. We grew up eating veggies and protein. Are you familiar with Luvox? I am. Yeah, we use it for OCD. It's one of my first go-tos, my first starting meds for OCD. How to deal with hyperanxiety? Exposure therapy. You want to get exposure to the stuff, to the situation. My dad does enough dopamine. He has Parkinson's. Yeah, so Parkinson's is a little different. That's when you have a deficit in dopamine in specific motor areas. So you have to increase that. Do you use salt? Yeah, got a whole bunch of sea salt right here. I love salt. I used to eat tablespoons of salt like this. Why is ADHD so different in women and girls? So with women and girls, they're taught to be socialized better. Basically that they have to blend in more. Boys tend to stand out. So imagine you have like a 16-year-old boy or a girl. The boy might be more hyperactive, so his ADHD stands out more, whereas the girl's is more inattentive, so hers stands out less. And then usually for women, they get diagnosed later because the problems start popping up later, or let's say in college or in med school or at the workplace. That's when the problems become more and more apparent and affecting their lives. Boys just get diagnosed earlier because they tend to cause more ruckus. How can I increase my dopamine? So you want a dopamine detox. That way you can decrease your dopamine tolerance. And that's by removing social media as much as you can. Like social media, it's the scrolling. It's the constant scrolling because that's just constant dopamine. So you want to remove that. You want to get a good night's sleep because that resets your dopamine levels. You want to eat a high protein diet. That helps. Yeah, those would be the top 3 things. Sleep well, reduce your dopamine, or eat a healthy protein diet. Remove sugar, simple carbs, sugars, and then dopamine detox. Yeah, those would be the 3 things. Run. Do you precept? So I don't officially precept, but I do run a coaching program for psych nurse practitioners where I teach them psychiatry, psychiatric diagnosis, psychopharmacology, case discussions. We go over cases every week, natural supplements, finances of being a provider, all of that. Because I had so many people come up to me and they were like, hey, can you be my preceptor? Can you be a collaborator? Can you teach me? I didn't learn anything in NP school. My school just scams me, takes a waste of my time. My preceptor doesn't teach me. I feel like I'm scrambling for resources all the time. So I was getting all these messages. And so I was like, okay, like, especially on these lives here. And I was like, okay, like, I got to do something about this. And especially in our field where there's a big attitude of like psychiatrists are here, NPs are here, and there's a lot of fighting that goes on. A lot of psychiatrists, they hate NPs actually. They feel like they're taking their jobs or whatever. And in fact, I got banned from the Noctur subreddit because of my program. And so I got banned, and also I've had physicians who've hate messaged me saying that I'm a disgrace to the profession. I am a disgrace, or I'm selling out to mid-levels was the exact term that was used. So I've gotten those messages, and I'm like, no, like we're all working together here. We're all working together for patient care. There's more than enough patients out there for everyone. So it's not like we need to gatekeep any of the stuff. And it's not their fault that maybe the education they didn't get was as good, because like the schools are out there trying to scam the students. They're basically just taking the students' money and then leaving. And like being like, okay, have fun, find your own preceptor, find your own collaborator. They just take your money and leave you hang out to dry, which is not cool. And so as in the medical field, as a physician, I was lucky because I had this standardized process, like med school and residency and fellowship, but a lot of people don't get that. So now it's my job, it's my obligation to help my colleagues rather than to just gatekeep all the psych knowledge from. So that's why I created the program as well. So if you are a PMHNP and that interests you, right, you want to definitely learn and prioritize psychiatry knowledge, and you want to learn from me, best way, and you want to be able to get patient care, you want to be able to discuss your cases with me every week, best way to do that is in my bio, or you can just send me a message, either or. And you definitely don't want to hold off on it either, because the longer you hold off, the longer, like, you'll probably be going on struggling. The longer you're going to be trying to figure stuff out on your own, the longer that, you could have gotten support faster, the longer you could have gotten a job faster, the longer you could have gotten community help from us faster. For example, one of the NPs in our program, I shared a job opportunity, and now she's looking at that one because she was looking at leaving her old job. And she was moving to a new city, and I knew someone in the city who was hiring. So like literally, it's like you still get a job opportunity from that too. So the longer you're going to be missing out on having excellent quality psychiatric knowledge, the longer you wait. And it's only going to go up too in price, because we've had over 130 people sign up in the last 3 months. So like it's growing. Like every day we're getting new members, and so definitely you want to be part of the early crew, the founding crew, rather than when there's like a few thousand people in it, and then you're not getting any. And it's way more expensive, and it's a lot harder for you to stand out. It's harder for me to know you. And we have both students and graduates too. And I think, in fact, if you're a student, that's one of the best times to join, is because then that way when you do graduate, you are so prepared, way ahead of the curve, instead of trying to figure it out on the job. Like you already know, you're already coming in with a baseline, and you're already coming in with knowledge, and you're coming in feeling prepared and feeling confident rather than feeling overwhelmed when you start seeing 20 patients a day. And nothing can really prepare you for that feeling of just being overwhelmed seeing patients. Because I remember it happened to me in residency too, where they just do like 80, 100 patients on us, and they're like, okay, have fun. So you definitely want to get locked in now and start building out your knowledge base now. So when you see patients, you feel confident, and like that confidence you feel when you start seeing patients is priceless. Oh man, I just did the scraping again. I can't unsee it now. I literally can't unsee it. Do you eat beef? I do, yes. God, haven't God protected thee? Yeah, thank you for, I forget who it was who pointed it out, but now I can't unsee it. Verilog gave me insomnia a year ago, and I got off after 3 months, but I still have it. Then maybe look into other insomnia options like trazodone or L-theanine or magnesium. Oh my gosh. I just scraped again. Do you ever find yourself liking your patients, like you want to be friends? No, there's boundaries. People come in with different, like the boundaries are set. The best medicine for OCD, generally it's high dose SSRIs. Like I like Luvox personally. Mediterranean diet or keto diet? Do you think ADHD meds are overprescribed by telehealth? Not by general telehealth, but by telehealth companies whose profit margin is dished out by prescribing ADHD meds monthly. Because then, you know, then the patient gets stuck on them, and then they get hooked on them. Not even hooked, but rather they get started on them, and then they have to see the company month by month to renew their prescription. So that's their profit model. So I think that's the problem. It's not just individual people. Oh my gosh. How are your teeth so white? Maybe it's because I scrape all my teeth. Maybe because I'm scraping all the good stuff off. How do you break the cycle of self-depression, self-sabotaging, isolation? Also, is it weird to want to be better more than anything, but it has ruined my life? I'm terrified to help myself. Yeah, so the way you break through that cycle is slowly. You don't just like one day get up and change, but you start making slow changes. It's like if you want to run a marathon, you don't just go and run a 20K, 50K marathon. You know, first day you might run to your doorstep, and the next day you run across the block, then the next day you run a couple blocks. So you start taking those small actions which compound over time. So that's the same way. You start helping yourself very slowly, and then it builds up over time. Yeah, the chicken's from Costco. It's like the frozen rotisserie chicken. I am concerned that my friend has been having manic episodes for the past few years. I mean, it's on them. If they've been having manic episodes, they should go see somebody for it. And I mean, you could tell them that, but it's on them. Remember, you are not responsible for anyone else's health. People make their own healthcare decisions, and their health is on them. And in fact, the more you try for someone else's health, the less they'll try on their own. So you really have to let them manage their own health. Because basically, if you're doing it for them, you're teaching them that they don't need to do anything because you'll handle it all. And that's not helping them in the long run. You have to really help them facilitate their independence more than anything. All right, and now we got our second big plate of broccoli. How long did it take you to get your career now? So, I went to college at 18, went to med school at 22, went to residency at 26, went to fellowship at 29, and now I'm 31, about to be 32. So it's definitely been cooking for a while, I'll tell you that. It's been a work in progress. But you know, that's the benefit of compounding interest, right? Like the opportunities and stuff that I'm getting now are way more than I had when I was at 22. And the business knowledge that I have now is way more. My psych knowledge is way more. So, yeah, definitely if whatever career thing you're on, you got to stick on it and always be looking to level up. And that's my whole life philosophy too, is that life is a video game. So instead of trying to level up in in a video game, we should be trying to level up in real life, because leveling up in real life is ultimately what's actually going to change our lives. Yeah, I love broccoli. Yeah, I ate this shit. I ate this on the reg. Why do I have insecurities about cheating? Look into attachment styles. You might be anxiously attached. We are the same age. Lol, when's your birthday? It's in June. In a couple weeks. So I am a Cancer. Yep, I actually like raw veggies as well. Like, I love raw broccoli. No, Cancers are down to earth. Gemini are grudge holders. This is not live. Well, I'm saying hey to you now, so feels like it's live to me. You are making me want broccoli now. That's good. Yes, do want the broccoli. I'm an Aquarius. Nice. So you like to keep the peace a lot. Yeah, my ex was a Sagittarius, so we'd always joke that she would be very not vindictive, but like she was very passionate, and that was her trait. She, LOL. You guys are crazy. Y'all be wildin'. Why did you break up? I moved to New York. I knew I want. This was back when I lived in Michigan, and I knew I wanted a big city life. I was too immature also, so I wanted to experience the life here. But it's fine. Probably also commitment issues. I'm very scared of commitment and commitment phobic. So that would also be why. And then I also think, okay, what can I get from a partner that I can't really get from myself? So that's another thing. And I'm still like focused on my career. Still want to keep leveling up. Still want to do all this stuff full time. So yeah. Well, of course, yeah, that's my view. I am selfish, so it's better to be selfish than and be by yourself rather than, be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. Like that's selfish, because then you're being in a relationship just to satisfy your own insecurities rather than because you truly want a partner. And I think that's what most people want. I'm 31. Have you been successful tapering a patient off medication? Yeah. Plenty of patients I've tapered off. For example, one patient we just tapered off Effexor because we're cross-tapering her to Luvox for OCD. Bro is an unk, yeah. What are your daily meals? These are my daily meals. Was your ex white or Indian? She was a white girl, but I've dated across all races. Do you put cheese in that broccoli? No. I don't like cheese. I'm not a fan of cheese. Would you hire David Hispanic? Yeah, of course. I think Hispanics have great family cultures. They're very family oriented. You are so interesting to me. Yeah, I like to think I'm a unique person. Like, I'm not the typical doctor. I'm not the typical Indian boy. I'm not the typical gamer. I'm not the typical gym bro. Like, I feel like I'm not the typical business person. So I feel like I combine different aspects to make myself. Like, I don't really feel like I fit each one niche. Yeah, I'm not the typical like health fitness person either. Like, so yeah. Yeah, so the game I'm playing right now, I mean, this is so niche, but I'm playing A Plague Tale Innocence. It's a game about this plague that you're a girl taking care of her younger brother, and there's a big giant bubonic plague going on, and people are after you and your brother, and you got to figure out why they're after you. And it's like a stealth-based game where you have to go around these bubonic plague rats and also around different enemies who can kill you. And yes, I'm going through that way right now. Would you ever date men? No. That's not my predilection. Would you take a CNA serious? Does someone's level of education matter? Yeah, I don't care about education. Like, like, people always get this confused. Guys look for different things in women than women look for in guys. And women care a lot more about a guy's education than a guy cares about a woman's education, because we look for different things. Would you advise a PMHNP to open private practice? Only if you are experienced enough to do so, because I've run into this struggle and I've heard other colleagues say it, even my NP colleagues, is that if someone starts a private practice too soon, especially as a new grad PMHP, for example, you won't have the experience to do a excellent job with the patients, because you're not going to have that feedback, that supervision. So for example, like, I was able to start a private practice after residency and fellowship is because I've had all those 4 or 5 years of training. Whereas if you haven't had that of actual clinical experience, you don't have the experience to know if what you're doing is a good job or not. So I would say that only do that if you have had good clinical experience as a provider practicing. So it probably makes sense to work with someone first and then do it. Julian asks, I've had so many terrible psych NPs. It just depends. There's terrible providers everywhere. And so that's why I started my coaching program, of course, is to really help this fixing provider education. Because, right, if I want to make an impact in the world, I'm not going to be able to do that by just seeing patients. Like, eventually I've run out of time. So I can make more of an impact by, talking online, and then also teaching other people so that way they can make an impact. So that's one of the big reasons I started my NP coaching program in the first place. So that way I can, we collectively can have a bigger impact together, and we can help address the mental health shortage that way. How does duloxetine 80 milligrams and propion 300 milligrams compare to atomoxetine for ADHD? Those are so different. But I think that's very comparable. 80 milligrams is a solid dose of duloxetine, so you're definitely getting good norepinephrine activity that way. Do you have this morning, noon, and night? No, sorry, I only eat once a day. So I get all my food in at once. It's just more fun to me. It's more preferable for me that way. Why are doctors always married? It's because they get scooped up very quickly. But also they tend to be more conservative too. Medicine is a more conservative field, so they tend to have more of those traditional values. Are you a vegan or vegetarian? No. Bro, I think you just missed the salmon and chicken dish that we just had before. Is it true most dogs are narcissists? Sure. Yeah, you have to work hard to get there. I definitely have narcissistic tendencies. Any successful person has to be narcissistic. You have to care about yourself, and you have to be confident in yourself, and to the point where other people may perceive it as overconfidence or as narcissism. But that's fine. Ooh. Excuse me. Yeah, the way I perceive all this is that you put yourself, your authentic self, out there in the world, and then the wrong people will filter out, and then the right people will filter in. So the more confident you get, the less you start caring about what others think, and then the less you start caring about other things other people think, the more confident you get, and then you start attracting the right people to you. And this is what separates, at least my difference, is that from like 20s and 30s is now I'm way less, like I don't care about pleasing people. I'm not trying to make other people happy. And especially now being fully self-employed, I can fully be myself here. And yeah, so I feel like, if people enjoy it, then they're staying here. If they don't, then they'll trickle out. How do you treat F&D? So F&D, you have to work on the underlying cause. For example, I remember a patient, 16, 17-year-old girl, and she was having these seizures. They call it pseudo non-epileptic seizures. And so the way we treated that was with, we gave her Ativan actually. And I mean, Ativan can help the seizures, but she also had a lot of anxiety. And the seizures were non-epileptic, as was documented by EEG. But we started treating the anxiety, and she got better because of that, and a lot of the emotional stress that she was having too. What about F&D and epilepsy? Yeah, then you would use an anti-epileptic. Address the epilepsy first and see if there's any benefit to the F&D. Do you do TMS, Bravado? No. I work remotely, so I don't do that stuff, but I refer people out for it. Do you ever use MAOIs? I've never used an MAOI, like maybe once, but there's just so many better options than MAOIs. MAOIs have so many problems with them. My pupils are not dilated. It's just I have a ring light right here, so that's probably why. Any tips for a pre-med student going into psychiatry? Yeah, I would say just first focus on getting into med school first. But if you know you want to go into psychiatry, do all your shadowing and stuff, and then make your application about it. Love that vintage plate. Yeah, thank you. Shouldn't the light make you do the opposite? I mean, it should, but yeah. Whatever, I don't really think too hard. I feel good. Hey, so happy to catch you live. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so now we just finished our main meal, and it's time for the dessert. Best life advice you have to give? Think of life as a video game, and so instead of trying to level up in a video game, you should be trying to level up in real life. and any problem that comes up is not a problem. It's just a boss battle that you have to fight. And every boss, every setback or negativity you have, well, just remember the best video games you play, you have to lose to some bosses to win later on, because you level up. And a video game where you don't have any losses would be super boring. You have to die. So same thing with life. Just think of it like a video game, and then that way every day becomes fun to live. At least that's how I perceive myself. And yeah, and just remember that every person starts out with different stats. So it's like in Skyrim, where you can create your own character. You know, some people might have more attack, some people might have more defense. If you're playing Pokemon, some Pokemon have better stats, some Pokemon have worse stats. Like a Pidgey is different from a Ekans, from an Arbok, from a Rhyhorn. But every Pokemon has its strengths and weaknesses, and every Pokemon can level up. So even if it starts off weaker, like a Pidgey is not a Mewtwo, a Pidgey could still level up, become a level 100 Pidgeot, and still crush Mewtwo if the Mewtwo hasn't trained and is still only level 70. So always remember that. Love that view on life. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's why my private practice is called Level Up Psychiatry, and my Psych NP coaching program is called Level Up Psych Academy, because you know you should always be trying to level up, and it's better to level up in real life than in a video game, because a video game level up is not tangible, but real life level ups definitely are. Sometimes I feel guilty about gaming, because I'll be like, well, I could be leveling up in real life instead of this game, so why am I spending 5 hours on it? So you really have to just balance out your time and make sure that you're intentional with it. But then even if you go down this further, so imagine you have skill trees, right? So just like you have skill trees in real life, in a game, like you might have your stealth skill tree, you might have your physical skill tree, you might have your like movement skill tree. Those are all different skill trees. Well, in a real life, it's the same thing. You know, you might have your physical health skill tree, you might have your mental health skill tree, you might have your spirituality skill tree, you might have your career skill tree, you might have your social skill tree, and these are all just different skill trees. And then you can stack on stat points based on the experience you get into those skill trees, so that way you get better and better at that skill. Yeah, so this is my dessert. And essentially, so it's Greek yogurt, mixed with protein powder, just in time for the Pokemon references, exactly. Do panic attacks progress? Yes, they do. But panic attacks can get better with exposure too. Hey, I've got fluoxetine for depression, but I'm scared to take it because I don't know if it's depression or ADHD. That's where a good diagnosis assessment is key. So if you have it for depression, then it's definitely helpful for depression. Do antipsychotics actually help EUPD? Yeah, they can help some of the agitation that people have with it. Hey, I'm on bromazepam, sertraline, and lamotrigine. I keep feeling super nauseous. Is this okay? I mean, it's hard to. I would definitely talk to your doc about that, because it's hard to tell which one's causing nausea. Is it okay to alternate venlafaxine and fluoxetine to taper off venlafaxine? Yeah, that's what people usually do. Basically, you'll have people on fluoxetine as well, and then you have them slowly come off the venlafaxine. That can be a helpful strategy. Are you a Vyvanse queen? I do like prescribing Vyvanse. Yes, it is a good depressant medication. Oh, sorry, ADHD medication. This looks, yeah, so this is my go-to, oh, I think this dropped. I think they're still good. So I got these strawberries like a week and a half ago. Damn, no, they're getting soft. Risky business. Risky business. There's a little bit of white powder on them, or white fluff, and I was like, yuck. I use Orgain protein powder. That's a lot of protein, yes. We gotta maintain the gains. Oh, jeez. Keep in glass jar lasts longer. Oh, that's a good tip. See, this is why I just deal with frozen stuff, just because I don't want to risk it all getting bad. Facts, gotta keep the gym gains. Exactly. But yeah, so then I just mix a bunch of berries in, and yeah. Risperidone causes catatonia in my teen. Would Abilify be safe? Yeah, just because one antipsychotic causes a side effect doesn't mean that another will. So generally should be safe. But yeah, if you had catatonia already, then maybe some Ativan on board could be something you and your doc could look at. Hello, friend. I come from China. Nice. Well, Corey says he only answers on TikTok and not this live. Well, the reason is because people say, hello, Curry. Hello, I come how to deal with hair loss. I feel like this chat is just trolls. Had tips on coming off opiates after 3 months of use. I'm definitely not an expert at tapering of opiates, but at least what I can say is that the withdrawal will not kill you. It can just suck. Clonidine is a helpful medication to help with that. It's used frequently for opiate withdrawal. Yeah, we use it in the hospital to help with opiates. And then yeah, so this is my my Greek yogurt bomb. Basically, it's like my high protein dessert, where I'll add in. So I'll have my Greek yogurt. I'll add in the whole bunch of berries, some pumpkin seeds as well. So the pumpkin seeds are nice because it gives it that crunch, and the crunch is super key. You want because then it's not just like a ice cream thing, but rather it's like more like a cereal. So I put that in there, and then something else I do is I'll get a piece of chocolate. For example, like a piece of dark chocolate right here, and I'll take little things of it. Do you ever roast the pineapple seeds, pumpkin seeds? No. For me, like, I just want simple foods. I'm not trying to do all this extra fancy stuff, as you can see. And then I'll just dark chocolate. Yeah. I'll just make little pieces in here. Yep. So dark chocolate here. Each piece is like 70 calories. So not too bad. Hey man, love your videos. Appreciate it. Where are the scrubs from? They're from Mandala. I really like them. They're very comfy. They're not as sleek looking as I would say my fig scrubs are, but still pretty good. They are very soft. Slap them in the air fryer. But do you think roasted seeds would make a difference if I mix them with Greek yogurt? Like, I feel like it wouldn't really matter because they're all mixed in here anyway. I'm on like 11 meds. Well, so the best way, if you want a second opinion, the best way to do that is to book a consult in my bio. And because then if you book a consult, I can look through them and give you my opinion. And so yeah, let's see. Yeah, so if you just you can send me a message. I can send you the consult link, or you can see it in my bio as well. Oh my God, you guys need to start running. I do jump rope. That's what my cardio is. I do more jump rope for cardio. Is that ice cream? No, it's Greek yogurt. You were so helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's Greek yogurt. You left your cabinet open. Yeah, that you sound like my mom. That's what she says, but I don't care. I'll close it eventually. Buspar even work? It works mild to moderate. It's not the best by any means. Is low ferritin correlated with OCD? Low ferritin it can be, but it's also correlated with eating paint. Low iron is correlated with eating paint. I've seen people do that. Pica, yeah, that's the term. Yeah, I've seen. I remember I had one patient and she was eating paint off the walls, and then we checked her blood, and lo and behold, she had low iron. Hey Scarlett, yeah, all info is in my bio, so you can check it out there, or you can send me a message. But yeah, if you just check out my bio, all my info's in there. Why did you choose your field of work? Basically, I had my own confidence issues when I was in high school and college, like not very social anxiety kind of thing. And then I joined a fraternity and it changed everything for me. And by the time I left college, I was a completely different person. So I realized that I was able to make changes if I take the right action. So I wanted other people to be able to change their lives too. Donna Henderson says, I'm there. I need a psychiatrist referring to my clients to. You're where? Sorry, I live in New York, but I have a whole bunch of state licenses across the country. Therapist. Oh, okay. Are you in New York as well? Yeah. If you want to connect, just send me a message and we can connect. We could also do a live stream as well too. I think my audience would really benefit from like doing a live stream with a therapist as well. Louisiana. Dang, I don't have a Louisiana license, unfortunately, but I might know a couple docs in Louisiana, so I could connect you there. I do have an Indiana license. I did my residency in Michigan, and so I got an Indiana license when I was there, because it's right next door. We could do live together. Yeah. I'm definitely want to do some more lives with therapists. I'm from UK. Can I get a consult? Yeah, so I've talked with people from the UK before. How do I feel about duloxetine? It's good. I like duloxetine. I use it a lot for depression, anxiety, and pain. Can you practice in Georgia? I do have a Georgia license, yes, because I did my undergrad in Alabama. And my med school in Alabama, actually. What kind of pain does it cover? I know neuro, but like diabetic neuropathy. Yeah, it's more like the neuropathy pain, but I've also found it helps with arthritis pain as well. Yes in Georgia, no in California. Or sorry, yes in Illinois. Yeah. Not like MP or disc pain. It doesn't hurt. So like if the patient has any kind of pain, I'll give it. And even if I get like some benefit from that, I'll take it. What's your goal? Always medicine? No, I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to do something science related. I was always just like a science nerd growing up. And so I knew I wanted to do something then. And then in college, I was able to decide a bit more. Could we do a live together as an example what your patients should expect? I think the only downside with that is that you'd be putting your own health information online. Greek yogurt, yeah, so it's Greek yogurt with fruit, like berries, pumpkin seeds, and a little bit of chocolate. Yeah, it's my dessert. Basically, I do this for dessert instead of like ice cream, for example. Just because it's healthier, it's got good protein, it's a win-win. And protein powder, yeah. Protein powder really adds some of that flavor to it as well. Makes it like a chocolate ice cream. Do you offer therapy for BPD or know someone? Yeah. So the main therapy for BPD is DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. So I know people who do that. Yeah. So I could refer you if you want to as well. And then I can help. I help a lot with the med management side of things. I do autism assessments for adults, yes. So I'm a child psychiatrist, so I've had a lot of experience with diagnosing and treating autism. Why is promethazine prescribed for EUPD? Usually they're used to help with some of the mood irregularities, like the mood up and downs. How did you get to medical school without being demotivated? I mean, sure, you have motivation loss at times, but you just have to do it. Like, you just have to do it. It's just like if you're starving or if you don't have water and the nearest water is 5 miles away from you at a well, like, you just have to do it. What's the best mood stabilizer? It just depends. I don't think there's a best one. Lithium is really good for bipolar, though. We're having a hard time having an assessment. Does bipolar mania have to be elevated mood? Can it be anger, aggression, irritability? It can, yeah. That's what you call a mixed episode. So it definitely can. It can have a lot of irritability. I'm under a child psych because I'm under 25. Yeah, I mean, like, child psychs can still see adults, like, especially if they get older and they age into it. That's very common. Family medicine or psychiatry, which I specialize in. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. Do you want to do all of medicine, or do you want to do just one side of medicine, the mental health? That's the difference. For me, I knew I wanted to be an expert in the mental health. I didn't want to treat diabetes and other things. So the choice was obvious for me. What are your thoughts on Seroquel? I like it. It's my favorite antipsychotic. I like its sedation. I like that I can treat different stuff in different moods. Or different doses, sorry. Would you recommend leucovorin for speech delay and autism for kids? I'm not familiar with leucovorin, so I don't really know. I can't really say one way or the other. ChatGPT said I should get into in-depth psychology based on what it knew about me. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Or are you hovering over your bowl? I don't know, I'm very protective in case you might steal it. Oh man, I fucking love Greek yogurt, dude. It's so good, it's so tasty, like I feel so refreshed eating it. And it's healthy and it's got so much protein. Do you talk with your patients or give them just meds? Both. It depends on what the patient wants and needs. Some people want more therapy stuff, other people want less therapy. I love putting frozen blueberries and cherries in it. Yeah, that's what I did. I did frozen blueberries and strawberries. Like two scoops. Okay, now it's gone. Do you like working in the city? Yeah, I mean, I just love being here. Yeah, I love being in the city. Some on your lips, LOL. Are you trying to say you wanna clean that for me? Is that the vibe you're giving? Excuse me. How do I help self-sabotage? Mindfulness. You have to be mindful of the thoughts and actions you take. Basically, analyze your past mistakes, take accountability for them, see what you did wrong. Most people don't know how to take accountability for their actions. But if you can hold yourself accountable, be like, okay, what role did I have in playing this? Even if it's something else, for example, like cheating, you know, obviously if you get cheated on, you're like, oh, that's terrible, whatever, this person cheated on me. But you have to also, if you're accountable, then you know how to analyze yourself and be like, okay, well, this person cheated on me and yes, that was bad, but what did I do to contribute to it? So that's where accountability really comes in. And that's just an example. But the point is, if you want to stop self-sabotaging and you actually want to get better, then you have to take accountability for whatever you do. Do you think AI will help psychiatry find cures? Yeah, of course. I think AI is great. I think AI is going to be a game changer. You know, there's no going. AI is out of the bag, so, you know, I don't think we should be complaining about it. I think we should use it as best as we can. For example, like AI helps me with my notes, so I take notes on that. Okay, get this dishwasher up and running. Get the plates all locked in here. Did you have withdrawal symptoms? For what? Withdrawal symptoms? Do you take your own advice when dating? Oh, I'm not a dating coach at all. You know, different people need different advice. For me, I'm no dating coach. You know, I do love a full dishwasher though. There's nothing quite like it. I don't know who else feels that way, or maybe it's just me. Okay, now the dishwasher is running. Yeah, well, we have been live for 2 hours, actually, believe it or not. So, yeah, I think it's time to call it here. So I hope that this has been helpful. Hope this lunch has been enjoyable. Yeah, if you're a PMHNP or an NP and you really want to learn psychiatry from me, you know, and you want to be feeling confident in your clinical rotations or practicing, and you know, you want to really learn psychiatry in depth, because that's the best way I think to do that, to build that confidence, is to learn the stuff so good and be able to get supervision and advice from people who are yeah, just from like other colleagues. And the best way to do that is to check out my program. And if you're a patient and you want to learn from me, or sorry, see me as a provider, then the best way to do that is to book a consult in my bio. But otherwise, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, I shall see you tomorrow.